Hello there, this is Patricia from Pinky's World. I have a load of nice wee flat cards that I need to get made this week and posted. So I wanted to come up with something really nice but completely flat, and this is what I've come up with. And I just wanted to show you, if you wanted to do a bit of batch card making, this is a good way to do it. So I've used Winter Woods, which is one of my most favourite stamps. This is the second year, it's probably its last year. So I've used this tree. And I've used Everybody Birthdays for the lovely wee blessed Christmas wishes underneath here. I have simply inked up, I'll just show you as I go along now. I have set myself up with 2 masks. They're just a piece of card cut nice and straight. I had slid my card in first, made my card just half a sheet of A4, fold it in the center, and then that's what I'm going to use as the front of my card. So I'm sliding it in. I'm using the grid lines to line myself up against the grid. I'm pushing this one. This was 1 inch. So I'm pushing that joint right down to the inch line, and I'm lining it up with that particular line on the grid. And that's what I'm using. Get these ink pads out of my way. As my piece that I want to decorate. So we want to start off by simply a nice wee brush. These are actually going to be available in Stampin' Up, I see, in the new catalogue, so keep an eye out for those if you haven't got yourself a packet of them. They are great. Well, these ones are great. These are the cheap ones. So far so good. I have no complaints out of them, beside being a wee bit, this one's going a wee bit mank. I need to wash it. Simple as that. So anyway, didn't tell you, Pacific Point is the colour I'm using. Make sure everything is straight where you are, and keep that one pushed nice and down. You could actually put another wee bit of tape to hold them down nice and flat. It's entirely up to you, but I'm just going to go in and start inking up. And just build your colour right up. Just always tap off the excess and start on your scrap and work down onto your, if you have, what do you call those inks? Tim Holtz ones. I have a drawer full of them there. If you have those, you could use them. Build up your colours with those. So I'm just colouring the whole lot. I'm not leaving any. I'm just filling the whole lot in. This brush is starting to leave wee swirls, which I do not like. I'm going to have to clean it at some stage to get that hopefully come back again. If not, I'll have to use the bigger versions. But we're going to be stamping over most of this anyway, so just make sure you keep that nice and flat. Now I've used like a thin card for my 2 strips here. And when you go to stamp, you're kind of left with a wee edge where there's nothing. So I'll show you how to manage that if you're doing the same as me. So I still want to have another wee bit of darkness around the outside there. And you can actually go with a darker colour later if you feel like it. Entirely up to you as to what look you're looking. So I'm going to put these out of the road. I'm actually using a VersaFine because I want a really good depth. If you're using Memento, go in with one of the stamping boards so that you can re-stamp each part if that's what you want. If you want a good clear. Get yourself a scrap of paper so that you can off stamp to get a lighter impression. As you can see behind, these ones are all lighter. Just gives you a wee bit of depth. So ink up your stamp first. I'm not using the full stamp, as you can see. It's more or less the top. There's a great stamp set. I definitely would recommend it. Just simply to have trees in your stash. Like, everybody needs a nice tree. So you can see why I've made this 2 inches instead of 1, because I'm coming down below and I don't want any on the bottom of my paper at all. So we're just stamping that on there. Gives a nice clear black, but we're going to go in now a wee bit lower to do a lighter impression. And you can see that clear line where it doesn't stamp because I've used the card that's just a wee bit thick. I'm going to go into this side and do another wee lighter one just very close. It gives a nice wee repetition there. And I'm just going in with the black just for dark night. You could go in with really dark green if you felt like going with the Christmassy colours, you know. So I'm going to put this one in here, and maybe I'll go up higher this time. It's entirely up to you what way you want to go with your card. And again, go in with the smaller version. Put a wee tiny one in there. You can see how quick this builds up for you. Really, really quick and easy. If you were making a whole load of these, you'd have them done in no time. I'm going to go up ahead this side too. I'm getting the black mark and I don't like that. I'm going to go a wee bit higher. Need a clean stamp. That's another thing when you're doing loads of stamping. Go in now and again and clean off that stamp so you're not left with a ridge. So I'm more or less pretty pleased with that. Just be careful, the VersaFine does take a wee bit longer to dry. I just wanted a good impression as my memento is really well done. So you can see now how far you've got on there. At this stage I added a bit of the all-purpose frost white and just sort of sprinkled it on there. Really would need to dry that off. But it gives a nice wee flicker. Now if you want to go in with darker colours, do that before you go on to your bit of white. I just picked up a bit on this. Is a fairly crispy brush because I wanted to just put a wee sprinkling along of snow along the bottom there. Then with your next, just do a flick. Make sure you have nothing near that you don't want flicked on. And just do a nice wee flick of sort of give that wee snowy effect. And just go as mad or as little as you want yourself, depending on how stormy you want to go. So that's all. It takes very little of that to go a long way. Now you want to be sliding this out. Clean some off my hands here. I'm going to hold this one up slightly so that the card isn't catching on it when I'm sliding it out. And you get that nice clean, crisp lines where you've done that. And you're simply going to go in now with your stamp. I'm keeping this attached. I'm going to go back. I'm going to make about, I'd say maybe a dozen of these. So I'm just keeping that page in situ so that it's ready for me to go each time. And I'm going to go in now and just stamp them sentiment. Again, you could go in with colour or stick to the dark ink. It's entirely up to you. I'm just going to go with a VersaFine again to get a good crisp, clean impression. I think that wee sentiment is really lovely. Blessed Christmas wishes. And again, just line your card up fairly straight so that you can gauge this so that it's more or less in the center. I never get this right. But it gives a lovely, crisp, clean card. And you'll fly through these in no time. The messiest part is probably the flicking, so if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Or make sure you cover it. I've got dirt on that already. But I'm going to go in and clean it up with different bits and pieces that I have. So you can see you'll just get through them in no time. This one, I got a wee mark down below, so I'm back in. I slid it back onto the mask there and put it a wee bit higher and just cover it in more blue. So you get a different look each time. So if you make a mistake, don't worry too much about it if you get inky hands, which I'm inclined to do. But anyway, I hope that spurs you on to make a load of batch made cards. Catch us all later. Bye.